Let's say you want Prius-like MPG, but you're also scared of hatchbacks and require more utility than a sedan can offer. Niro, baby! Though it exhibits all these signature crossover cues like black body cladding, squared-off liftgate, and roof rails, the Niro is actually shorter than wagonoids like the Prius V and Kia Soul, meaning it's a crossover in name only. Nevertheless, the Niro does a good job of faking it thanks to an elevated seating position that, if nothing else, at least makes you feel like you're riding high. And an added benefit of that low roofline is a lower center of gravity. So when pitched aggressively into a corner, the Niro responds with an eagerness some might find surprising. I mean, I don't. The Niro is essentially a hatchback and handles as such. Low rolling resistance tires and all. Keep it in a straight line, and the Niro maintains its direction without an inordinate amount of steering intervention. And while at speed, the cabin is noticeably quieter than that of the Toyota Prius and only a few decibels over the Chevy Volt. Ride quality leans a bit to the firm side, but the Niro still holds its composure over generally terrible pavement. Come to a stop, and yeah. Who'd have thought Kia would be the first automaker to make hybrid brakes feel normal? But they did it. Accelerating from a stop, though, is a herky-jerky affair thanks to a less than civilized 6-speed dual-clutch automatic. Connected to that clunky gearbox is a 1.6-liter gasoline engine working in concert with an electric motor and lithium polymer battery to produce a total system output of 139 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. This amounts to a 0 to 60 time of about 8.5 seconds, which, though not exactly quick, that's the Toyota Prius by well over a second. Take a break from battling hot rod Prius drivers for pinks, and the EPA says you should see up to 52 mpg in the city and 49 mpg on the highway. Just be aware that those figures can drop by as much as 6 and 9 respectively in the heavier, more feature-laden touring model like our test unit. Then again, as the disclaimer says, your mileage will vary. Here's why. While hypermiling and pissing off pretty much everyone around me, I managed to log almost 55 miles a gallon in a near 50-50 mix of city and highway driving. But when traveling at a more normal rate of speed, our fuel economy average dropped to just over 40 miles a gallon. Before you ask, this is not indicative of all hybrids. Some, like the Prius and Accord, respond more favorably to moderately spirited driving. Regardless of your driving style, the Niro's flexible yet stylish interior gives it broad appeal. Backseat passengers will be greeted to decent legroom and headroom, along with USB ports and rear air vents on EX models and up. The seatbacks don't recline, but they are angled in a naturally pleasing position. Flipping up the lightweight hatch exposes an appropriately sized cargo area capable of housing a pair of carry-ons, or one police dog, along with a handy underfloor storage compartment. Dropping the rear seats frees up 54.5 cubic feet of space, which is considerably more than traditional subcompact crossovers like the Jeep Renegade and Mazda CX-3. Move to the front, and the Niro continues to impress. In a welcome departure from most dedicated hybrids, the Niro's dash layout doesn't look like a control panel from an 80s sci-fi film. The interfaces are easy to reach and use, sightlines are good in pretty much every direction, seats are a bit hard, but what are you going to do? And materials quality is really quite good considering the price point. And that price point begins just shy of $24,000 including destination fees for the MPG leading FE trim. That is, according to the EPA. But since the FE and LX both return virtually identical fuel economy in the real world, not to mention the fact that the LX includes additional standards like roof rails, passive entry with push-button start, and the aforementioned underfloor storage box for only $300 more, the LX is clearly the better buy. For that price, you'll also get a well-sorted 7-inch touchscreen infotainment center with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integration, dual-zone climate control, a backup camera, and automatic headlight control. Drop $32,500 on a loaded touring model, and you'll drive away with HID headlights, leather, heated and ventilated front seats, an 8-speaker sound system by Harman Kardon, as well as active safety aids like automatic pre-collision braking, lane departure warning, and adaptive cruise control. Conspicuously absent from that list is an auto-dimming rearview mirror, an electronic parking brake, and all-wheel drive, features that are available on cheaper Kias. Aside from larger, more expensive hybrid SUVs like the Toyota RAV4 and Nissan Rogue, the Kia Niro's primary rival is the Prius Prime, which, thanks to EV tax incentives, starts as low as $22,000 and returns up to 25 miles of electric range, plus well over 50 mpg thereafter. But it looks like even so, the Niro reigns supreme when it comes to cargo space, acceleration, and not looking like a hatchback. From a practical point of view, the Kia Niro is easily one of the most appealing vehicles on the road today. Plus, it looks pretty good. And considering this is Kia's first attempt at a dedicated hybrid, color me impressed.